Hello and welcome to this episode of Pixel Journey. This will be the final installment of my little 3-part series about Pikmin. So obviously with this being the last one, this is all about Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is the latest game to come out, and it came out very recently. It came out last year, and I, like normal, was late to the party. So I got this game for Christmas because my mom just really wanted to get it for me, and so I said sure. In the time between Christmas and like the beginning, like the first week of January, I played this game every single day. And that was not just because Amy said, play the game, we need to talk about this on the Nerd House podcast. It was because I was basically addicted to this game. I just felt this overwhelming urge to just play it every single free moment I had. So this game by far added the most new content, new abilities, new everything from all 3 of the previous games. And they also added, they took the things that they really liked from the past games and just made them better. And I think that this is by far the best Pikmin game. And I honestly can't wait for Pikmin 5 because of how good Pikmin 4 is. So obviously the biggest change is you are not playing as any predetermined character. You get to make your own, and you are part of the rescue corps. So you pick yourself, and you actually get to play the first little bit as 𝕬𝕟𝕬𝕟, who is with a mysterious dog that we find out to be called Moss, and you're exploring this house. And honestly, when I saw that you get to explore a house in the trailer, I was already sold. So it's really weird when you first start, because you're just like, why am I 𝕬𝕟𝕬𝕟 and where am I? Why am I needing to find all these Pikmin with this dog? And then it comes out later, but then you get thrown back after the, not really tutorial, but like foreshadowing part, and you are one of the people set out to rescue 𝕬𝕟𝕬𝕟. And turns out, everyone needs some rescuing. So the rescue team needs rescuing. Other people that have no business traveling through space to this planet need rescuing, and that's just the main part of the story that kind of pushes you to explore different places. So obviously one of the big things is you get access to all of the Pikmin from the previous games and some new ones. So obviously you get the original 3, red, blue, and yellow. You get the chunky purple boy that is basically 10 Pikmin, the little white boy that is immune to all poisons, and if he's eaten, they take poison damage. You get the winged Pikmin back. You get the sturdy little rock boys back, and you also get ice Pikmin, which look basically the same as rock Pikmin, but they're slightly better. So the cool thing that I actually didn't like at first, because it makes you think, is you start out with only being able to take out 10 Pikmin at a time. You don't get the free-for-all 100 Pikmin like all of the other games before it. No, you have to work your way up. So paired with your 10 little Pikmin and 𝕬𝕟𝕟, the rescue pup that you get in this game, which I will talk about him in a minute because I love him, you have to find onions, and that will increase in increments by 10 the amount of Pikmin that you can bring out. So obviously in past Pikmin games, you've had to search for onions, but there's never been multiple onions of the same color. So you literally have to work your way up and get all of your different Pikmin onions and add to your little arsenal of Pikmin. And 2 things that I really enjoy because they make you think is, in addition to having to increase your Pikmin amount yourself, you can only bring out 3 different types of Pikmin at a time. In past games, you could bring out literally every type of Pikmin that you had, and that wasn't a problem. You just had to keep it under 100. This, you can only take out 3 types. And that includes if you have little sprouts that you haven't plucked, those count as a type that is out because they're in the overworld. The only time that this is not enforced is in the underground. If you find another type of Pikmin, or you find a flower that can change its type, that doesn't count. But if you are above ground and trying to take stuff out of your onion, then it'll lock you out. You literally can't even do anything. And the second thing that really interested me is in the past, you can only do the original 3 and get their onions, but you can actually get every single type of Pikmin. You can find their onion. So you can make every single type of Pikmin. You can have a whole army of any color you want. And I loved it. I like making a bunch of Pikmin. I like the security that I will never run out of a type because I can just make more if some get trampled by an enemy. So I literally don't need to worry about just using a bunch of red Pikmin for a boss fight with only like a few of a different type. Because let me tell you, the purple Pikmin and the ice Pikmin are amazing. They're strong little boys where the purple Pikmin and the ice boys can freeze an enemy. But it turns out if you freeze an enemy, you don't get their corpse, you just get nectar. I didn't realize that, and I don't know if anyone else did. Let me know if you did. But the world is so open and the areas are so much bigger in Pikmin 4 compared to the others that there is actually different base stations that you can move your base to at any given moment. You have free will, and it is a lifesaver. It saves you so much time, and it can even save some of your Pikmin if you don't want them to go past some enemies. So in each area there's typically about 3 different places that you can move your base to, and so I basically took that as I'm going to search one area and then just go to the next one and do everything there because I wanted to be close to my base so I could gather my Pikmin back. So I guess now is a good time to talk about Ōchi because they're so related to the Pikmin, and Ōchi is such a game changer and I have no other way to describe them. He's such a good boy. So you get him in the beginning and he can only do limited things and you actually kind of build him with skill points. So in the beginning, he can carry the weight of 3 Pikmin. So he's actually very substantial in the beginning when you only have up to 10. And I would basically have him take the enemies back, and there was a lot of raw material and I would have my Pikmin focus on that. And after you progress enough and you find the captain of the rescue corps, she will basically give Ōchi to you for this mission because you've bonded so well and say, oh, you can train him to do better things. And I just want to point out one thing, that in the trailer it showed Ōchi swimming, and so I tried to swim before I got her, and it turns out Ōchi does not swim by default. He's not born knowing how to swim, so make sure that you teach him how to swim first. But the things that you can teach him are, you can get him to carry up to 100 times the amount of Pikmin, so all those watermelons you basically need Ōchi at like full strength for. And he can up his charge power, so any of those lovely dirt walls that you would just throw all your Pikmin at, Ōchi can take down in about like 2 charges, and that's super helpful and saves you a bunch of time. He can also dig really well. He can obviously swim, and he can just do so many things. You can level him up, and the way you get skill points, which are pup drive points in the game, are by rescuing people. So obviously, like I mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of people to rescue, and that is the main kind of driver for it. And they will show back in this kind of main hub area that you get, and they will give you little side missions. And those side missions actually lead to kind of pushing you to have a completionist mindset. It'll be, oh, can you hunt down this many enemies? Can you bloom this many Pikmin? Can you clear this area? Can you find these treasures? And that made me feel like 100%ing the game was going to be a lot less daunting. So this is actually the first game that I have 100%ed, and I think it is a great one if you are someone who wants to 100% a game but doesn't know which one to do it in. This one's actually really great. You have like the main mission, and you have some 𝕞𝕠𝕣𝕖s and a night mode. And so all of these things actually make for a great balanced game, and let me tell you why. So in the main story, you're gathering different treasures and you're trying to find, they call them castaways. You're trying to find all these castaways, and you find that some of them have become these people covered in leaves, and we call them leaflings, and you're just like, what is happening? And some of them try and take away castaways, and you're just like, no, bring them back. And so you go and you chase after them, and it turns out your Pikmin won't follow you. And so it's just up to you and Ochi. And so what do? You have to engage in a 𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕕 battle. What's a 𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕕 battle? Well, if you played Pikmin 3, it's just kind of a modified version of bingo battles. And so what do? You go against this other leafling, which we later find out is 𝕚𝕚𝕟. It doesn't take long. It's the same dog, same 𝕚𝕚𝕟 shape. And so you go against leaf version of 𝕚𝕚𝕟, and you try and outdo his points. And just like in bingo battles, there's items that get 2 times points, and I think sometimes even 3 times points. And it's not about whether you win in terms of points, just straight up. There's different medals you can get, as always, in these types of things. And you have to get, for the top medal, which I strove to get because I'm insane, you have to get 100 points above his score. Does that take a while for some? Yes. Did some of them feel super easy and I get it on the first try? Yes. But that different level of challenge made me keep going back, because the ones that I got on the first try, I felt amazing, and I'm just like, I'm a 𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕕 god. But the ones that kind of kicked my ass and I had to go back and do for like an hour, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I feel you. I need to work on this a bit more. I need to strategize. And basically the strategy came down to get the big stuff, focus on the bonus items, and screw with 𝕚𝕚𝕟. That was my strategy for these. And like in my previous Pikmin video, I mentioned that the side quests where you go and just beat a bunch of things up wasn't my favorite. My favorite was when you collect treasure. And if you were like me, you will be very happy to hear that Pikmin 4 has that version of a 𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕕 battle too. So for the little leaf people that aren't kidnapping others, there are ones that will want you to kind of 𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕕 up a place. And basically you are tasked with getting every single piece of treasure back to your ship in a given amount of time. So this is where your 𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕕 skills really come into play, because you have to strategize. Like, some of these are incredibly challenging, and I found them super rewarding when I figured out like what I needed to do. And just like the other ones, there's ones where I cleared on the first try, and there's others that took me a great deal of attempts to figure out what I needed to do. So these, again, they were my favorite because you have to really think and strategize, and there's not as much RNG difference that will affect your runs. It's basically just you and the treasures, and you go and you try and figure out, here's how I get this, here's how I do this, this should be done before this, and you just feel so smart when you figure it out, and it's so pleasing. So those are the main two, I call them both 𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕕 battles, but those are like the main two. And then of course you cannot forget one of the main features that was promoted in the trailers for Pikmin 4, and that is the night mode, which we get another new type of Pikmin, and they are adorable, and they are called Ghost Pikmin. They're little green guys, and they only come out at night, and you have to protect this little sand mound, and you just basically are playing tower defense for a night. You can actually send Ochi to circle around and defend one of these, and because sometimes there's two, there's not only just one, some of them have two, and that is the biggest pain in the ass of this game. And basically you charge them up and send them out, and it can make a giant ball, and use those for the big enemies. If they're little enemies, just spam the button and throw them at them. But some of these missions drove me insane because I was trying so hard to not have any of my little sand castle mounds be attacked, but every time something would get through me, and the music that happens when you are getting attacked is terrifying. Like, there was no need for it to sound like that. So I actually really liked this mode, and it kind of mirrors each region that you unlock. There's a nighttime mode that you have to defend that same area, and so that was kind of cool because I would kind of generally know like the layout, which was nice. And the cool thing about the Ghost Pikmin, So I'm clearing this up for any time I screwed this up in the earlier part of the video. They're glow Pikmin. They're not ghost Pikmin, I'm dumb. So the cool thing about the glow Pikmin is they don't need to like kill any enemy to get more. They actually find these little, they look like little star gems to me. I'm not quite sure what they're officially called, but they take these little star gems and they'll just bring them back to any of the little mounds. You can actually, there's tricknolls that you can light up and shove them in, and you just get more glow Pikmin just for you. And it's actually super fun. So I would actually use these modes as like a distraction or like a break in between story mode. I would actually go through like all 3 of these different modes, and because the difference in gameplay for all 4, the 2 types of 𝕞𝕠𝕣𝕖s, the story mode and the night mode, where they play so differently, and some of it's really subtle, but it's enough for you to like have a different mindset. And I think being able to break up your gameplay in that many different ways was super helpful for having me go through this game, because it took me about 43 hours to get through this Pikmin game. But I honestly loved all of it. It wasn't until like the very like end to where I was just like getting kind of over it. Like that last section that you unlock in post game, that was just a chore to chug through because there were so many poison things. And that part was rough, but it was still very, very enjoyable. Like, this game is long. They give you a lot of content. So this game basically does everything right in Pikmin. So once you reach the end and roll credits for the first time, you still have probably about half a game to go. And I was not expecting that. So you gain 2 more areas, and you get 𝕬𝕟𝕕, and Louie makes a return. And if you know me, you know I dislike Louie. I don't like him. I never liked him. I was so sad to see him make a return in this game, I'm gonna be honest. But the fight with the giant dog when you chase after Louie, and that entire like, what was it, Home of a King, that entire like cave, it was okay. It was just so long. Like, there was no need for it to be that long. But honestly, the glow Pikmin saved me for that particular boss fight. Like, it did not need to be that long. But like, the dog, it took me a bit to figure out what I was supposed to do. So the glow Pikmin, that if you didn't know, when you do the night modes, you actually get some glow Pikmin that you can plant in using caves, and they actually saved me because I lost so many Pikmin because it's like 20 levels, and they're like all boss fights. They're like going through like the mini bosses and bosses that you fight, so it's just a boss rush gauntlet to get to Louie. And the glow Pikmin saved me. They really did. Because I forgot that they can do like everything. And that boss has like 5 different phases. Like, there was no need for it to go that hard. But just like Pikmin 3, I think that, and I'm grouping the entire cave gauntlet type thing as the final boss, because you can leave the cave at any time and apparently come right back to the level that you were on. But just like I did with Pikmin 2, I chose not to do that because I am dumb, and I just ran through the cave full stop, did not leave, did not think about leaving. I thought about it a few times, but did not let myself leave, and said I'm going to do all of these caves in one run, and that includes this 20 level cave. And so it saved me. They saved me because I was so done at that point. Like 5 phases, each new one, I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. But we did get it. And then it turns out you have even more stuff to do after this. So when you roll credits for a second time, you see 2 onions. The 2 onions that you do not have, the white and purple onion, fly away with you. And so you're just like, I need those onions. In the final area of the story mode that you unlock after post game, there is a gold bar that takes 1,000 Pikmin to get. And Oatchi can't lift that much. Oatchi can only lift 100. And so that's not going to be enough. What do you need? You need 100 purple Pikmin. What was one of the onions that follows you? The purple onion. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I get the purple onion? Obviously it's in post game. How do I get it? Apparently a tube opens up and you have another cave, and that's how you get them. And they're apparently like caves that put like your 𝕞𝕠𝕣𝕖 skills to the test. And all I could think of was, okay, now where is it? I spent so much time looking for this, and then I gave up and I googled it, and it turns out you have to go through 𝕬𝕠𝕗𝒻's stuff. You have to do an entire mini 𝕬𝕠𝕗 mission where you go through and you have to find a bunch of parts, and you have 15 days to find 30 parts, and oh my god, was this the most stressful part of the entire game. But I did really like it. It was very fun, and it was stressful. I had like a day left by the end of it, because like it's a lot. It makes you think. But honestly, that was super fun because there wasn't really a time limit given in the main story, and so you kind of get like the best of both worlds. So that was super fun. And after finishing that, I get the final cave, which is only 10 levels, but also super hard, and like they're 𝕞𝕠𝕗𝕗 focused. And you have to basically make perfect runs. And oh my god, did this test me. It probably took me over the course of 3 days to do this cave. But when I finally finished that cave and the final level, you get the purple onion, I felt so satisfied. I was thrilled I could be done with it. And so then I just went on the journey of making 100 purple Pikmin and finishing my run. I had finished everything else up until then. I just needed that gold bar. And then I was done. And so that long ramble was my story with Pikmin 4. I fully believe that this is the best Pikmin in the entire franchise, and I'm very excited for Pikmin 5. I will get it on whatever system it is. I will get the system for Pikmin 5. And like, I just highly recommend it. If you like strategy, like little follow these creatures and guide them type thing, like this entire IP created Pikmin likes. And so there's obviously people that like this style of game. If you're one of those people, try it out. Try it out. You will not regret it. It's so much fun. It's so great. And also there's 43 hours of content in here if you want to complete it. So that is basically going to be the end of this video because it's getting a lot longer than the other videos. And so that is basically it. That is my plea for you to buy Pikmin 4 and play it if you have not already. If you have played Pikmin 4, if you're looking for it, if you agree with what I said, if you disagree with what I said, if you want to add anything to the conversation, please put that in comments down below. I would love to read them. I love to know people's thoughts on the stuff that I've taken in. And that's basically it for this. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know that you liked it. If you like gaming content, scroll through the channel. We have a bunch of stuff on here. But that is basically it. Thank you so much, and I hope that you found something useful in this video. Bye.